It's been an Oscar campaign filled with controversy, but that shouldn't affect the Best Original Song category, right? Let's find out on this special episode of That Song from That Movie. Man to woman.
Woman to man?
No, come on, guys.
Oh, so was it like penis to vagina? Penis to vagina? Something
It's
like that.
penis to vagina, yeah. Thank you for joining that song from that movie, The Journey Through the Very Best and Worst of Movie Songs. I am your It Could Be Her Year host, Dietrich. And joining us is the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. Alex.
Oh, God. Yep, that's me.
And completing the lineup is our man who's one award short of an EGOT, Ben.
Which one? I'm trying to think which one I'd be least likely to get. I mean, I'm incredibly unlikely to get any, but what would I be worse at? I mean, anyone can get a Grammy. I honestly think I could get a Grammy this year if I tried.
Yeah, I think Emmy, because I think you'd get loads of daytime Emmys, but I think you'd struggle with that primetime Emmy.
Yeah.
Oh, does it have to be prime time to count?
Come on, Alex.
Yeah, okay, fair.
No one counts.
No,
no one counts a daytime
Sorry
Emmy.
to all our daytime Emmy award-winning listeners.
I actually think the Emmy is the most difficult because, like, musically, you can win the other three. You can win the other three by being a musician.
That's a good point. Just by being music.
This is why the daytime Emmy doesn't count, because there's one that's like best daytime television performance, where like you've appeared on like the American equivalent of This Morning and performed.
Okay, so I could just write a song with Diane, sing it on a morning talk show, and get my Emmy.
Maybe.
Okay.
On next year's Oscars episode.
Yep.
Let us know how it went.
I won't be there because I'll be on the red carpet.
You'll be in Hollywood.
Yes.
So it's that time of the year again. It's awards season, and we're going through the Best Original Song nominees as per our tradition. But before we do that, let's have a quick chat about this year's Oscars generally. Ben, who's winning Best Picture this year?
Are you asking me because I might be the only person who's seen a film?
I've seen at least one of the films nominated. I've seen two.
You've seen
at least
well, I think you've seen Emilia Perez. What's the other one you've seen?
Wicked.
You've seen Wicked. Alex, have you seen any?
I've seen Dune 2.
Okay. Have you not seen Wicked yet? Have you not been to a BYOB of Wicked?
No, I would like to, but no, I've not, no.
I'm looking now. I think I've seen everything apart from the Nickel Boys, whatever that is.
The Nickel Boys.
So therefore, I am going to say the Nickel Boys is going to win. No,
Another case for the Nickel Boys?
I mean, it's the kind of thing. When I did my end of year list, my probably highest rated film was Dune 2, but it's not going to win. I think Anora and The Brutalist are the most Oscar-like great films, and either of those I'd be very happy with. A Complete Unknown is just... They love a biopic, don't they, the Oscars? It's like there just has to be one.
Not for Best Picture, though. Not for Best Picture. They like a biopic for the lead acting awards, don't they?
But yeah, true.
Yeah.
But I feel like James Mangold sometimes just gets thrown in there for like directing. And then I think the rest are just peppered. The Emilia Perez stuff is well spoken about of why that's there and why it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, and obviously we'll go into that further.
Anora or The Brutalist, I would be very happy with. Anora especially, I cried my eyes out of that film.
Do you think The Brutalist use of AI is going to cause any problems with voters?
Is it got AI in it?
Apparently
Apparently
they've
so.
backfilled things in the background and stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, God. I mean, it's a 3-hour drama akin to, like, Once Upon a Time in America or something like that. It is a slog, so I apologise if I might have zoned out for a few minutes. Although the dancing robot was questionable.
I mean, the main question I have is Kieran Culkin going to win for Best Supporting Actor?
He's getting a lot of press. Yeah, I think he will, because the competition I don't think is that great, and I think he should. The nomination for Nora, I will just say, Yura Borisov. If you ever get a chance to watch this film, he just plays a stereotypical Eastern European. It's amazing, but he's very almost no acting.
It sounds like it's quite a weak year this year. I haven't seen any of the films really, so I'm basing that off rhetoric.
I think just with how the cinemas are kind of going, I just don't think any of them are they're not even mid-budget. I think a lot of them are quite low-budget films, and therefore there's just not been the buzz. Like, I feel like June was never going to win, even if it was released within the last few months, but it's just weird to just throw it in there. I feel like that's the appeal to get people to watch the Oscars, like they sometimes do. Just throw in a big film. I mean, Wicked is the driver, I think, in hopes for that there's going to be a lot of stands for, like, you know, what's her face?
Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah, but yeah, people like that. And like Ariana Grande is nominated, and she is like actress in a supporting role. So I feel like that gets more people watching it as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but I feel like that's a it has a secondary gain to why sometimes these films are put in there.
Well, that's why they have this really long list now as well for Best Picture, like the 10 films or whatever it is. It used to like be 4 or 5.
It's 10 films.
Yeah, I mean, what even is The Nickel Boys?
Well, who knows?
So, also nominated for Best Picture is Emilia Perez. So, let's use that as our jumping off point for this year's songs. So, probably should just cover Emilia Perez in general first. Let's cover that shitstorm. Emilia Perez tells a story of a male Mexican drug cartel leader who enlists a lawyer to help them fake their death and transition into a new life as a woman. All this whilst being a musical. So, elephant in the room, it's been widely panned by audiences and by some, but not all, Guillermo del Toro, not all people in Hollywood, and is already being dubbed the worst movie to possibly win Best Picture since Crash.
God.
I've watched it, or should I say, I enjoyed it because I thought it was rubbish. I really didn't want to join in with the circle jerk around this movie, but it's just not a good movie. Have either of you guys seen the movie?
Yeah, I've watched it now.
Do you agree, Ben?
Yeah, which is a shame because,
God.
like, what's his face? Jacques Audiard. Like, some of my favourite films, The Beat That My Heart Skipped, A Prophet, Deepan. He makes fantastic films. I mean, most of them are French language films, and he's won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
Yep.
I mean, A Prophet. If you go on to like Empire's 100 Greatest Films of World Cinema, like it's always up there, and then you make this just absolute slop, and it just feels like it is. Without getting into the kind of the social commentary discussions around it. And the hotbed topics that often are kind of involved, that it was nominated by people who had never seen it, because there's no way you let this on pure merit. It has been judged by its synopsis, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think what happened here is that I think the Academy saw the synopsis about like a drug cartel movie, but also dealing with transphobia, and thought this is going to be a slam dunk, and then people watched the film and went, "Oh, this is terrible."
And he's actually probably quite insulting in a lot of ways to trans people.
Yeah, 100% it is.
And people from Mexico, apparently.
And and people who like musicals.
Yes.
And people with eyes and ears.
The most important group of them all.
Generally, the movie's got bad songs. They're not particularly memorable, or if they are memorable, they're not memorable for a good reason. I feel like there's some really weird, editing choices. There's a bit where they're on a phone call, and they're all sort of... It feels like it's been done... they're in 3 different continents recording these separate scenes, and it's been, plastered together. Yeah. And, it's got enough cliches about Mexico to last you a lifetime. And even if we got outside of the poor movie, the campaign around its nominations has been marred with the lead, Carla Sofia Gascon's social media posts.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot
which
about
have ranged from misguided to downright racist.
She basically hates every group that's ever existed.
Well, equally, though.
Well, that's fair. Yes, is that the South Park approach? As long as you insult everyone, it's not racist.
I think one of the telling things about this movie as well is, I don't know if you've heard Jacques Audiard said about how he came about the movie. He read the book it's based on, but then sort of took liberties with it. And he asked what research he did into Mexico and Mexican drug cartels. And his answer was nothing. I basically pieced it together from American crime shows.
Nice. That's my director.
Yeah.
I read that this is his first ever film that he's written alone, and now I'm starting to think it might be the first film he's ever written. And the other guy, the Family Guy joke with the Matt Damon and Ben Affleck writing the scripts, and it's only Matt and Ben's just sat on the sofa. That's what I picture for Jacques Audiard.
But it's in
100%.
This film is in Spanish as well, right? It's a full dialogue is Spanish, is that right?
Yeah, it's what, 70% Spanish, 30% English.
And they got a French person to write and direct it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's made other language films, because he's done a language in Tamil, which won Palme d'Or, so I guess he's done it before, but it's just misguided through and through.
It's deemed on Wikipedia as a dark comedy, but I really get the impression that they were very late in production, somebody watched it and said, "Oh, is this supposed to be a comedy?" And they all went, yes, that was our intention, definitely.
It depends, did you laugh? If you did, then yes.
It's a completely different type of filming.
Right, let's move on to the song, because we could beat this film over for a while. So, I'll start with El Mar, which is performed by Zoe Saldana and Carla Sofia Gascon. So it's the first of the 2 songs nominated for Best Original Song this year. And this is what it says on many articles, it's a rap rock song discussing the hypocrisy of criminals donating to the titular Emilia Perez's non-profit organisation, which is set up to help people in need, but only seems to take money from bad people. On screen, the song is a departure from the other musical songs in the film, in the sense that it plays as though Zoe Saldana's character is in a play instead of performing it within the world of the film. Much like the rest of the film, I don't like this song. I feel like it sounds as if Zoe Saldana's whispering over a pre-recorded track.
What is that about?
Yeah.
The mixing is shocking.
Yeah, it's so bad. So, yeah, what do you guys think of this song?
I did not vibe with the song.
No vibes?
No vibes?
Did I hit the vibe check?
No, it didn't. It really did not. Like, I've put, like, it's very throaty and whispery, so as you've just said, and I've also put it just doesn't have much musicality to it, which is bad for a song, I think. I've put, like, in the notes, it probably needs, like, the film context, maybe, but then I did watch the scene from the film, and I still didn't really feel it. And as well, like, the version I saw had English subtitles, and it made even less sense. Because it was like, because I'd read what you'd read, D, about, like, what the song is supposed to be about. And I was like, it probably makes more sense in Spanish where I don't understand it, because at least then I can fill in the gaps. Like, I can see what is happening on screen, and I can get what the narration is. But I was too busy concentrating reading on the English subtitles. I was like, none of this makes sense. Like, they shouldn't bother translating it, because it's a song, it won't make sense, and it really doesn't. But anyway,
yep.
I don't know. As a standalone song, I just did not enjoy listening to this one at all. I just did not know what it was supposed to be.
Cool. What about you, Ben?
I think if this wins, because obviously it won the Golden Globe, didn't it? This song.
Yeah.
If this wins, it will be the worst best original song there's ever been.
That is a shout.
Can't say I've heard them all, but
I honestly don't think.
I'll be surprised if so.
But I think we've gone through and talked to you, and I've definitely, it definitely is. And I think even if you have, I'll dip my toe in like prog, industrial music from time to time. Even that, it just feels like it doesn't follow any kind of structure. It feels like an improv session. When you get in your school and like the teacher just goes out with a music box and just hands random instruments to different kids, and like one gets the rainmaker and one gets a cymbal and then one's got the triangle, and it just feels like, and then asked to make a piece of music. I think the only redeeming thing is, I think, like I say, Jacques Audiard, I do think he's pretty good with cinematography. I do think like the setup of it is good, and I do like how it is. I just think it's a terrible song, and the weird sort of like what's her face on the podium just saying out random bits and singing on. She sounds like
you sing a different song.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I just think it's an absolute. This wins for a reason, and it wins for the wrong reason. And unfortunately, it's actually insulting and a representation, even more so, that those who vote for the Oscars do not watch the films.
Or
listen to the songs,
apparently.
But it's just damning for the entire industry and the award ceremony.
Yep. So I don't have much else on this other than the song literally translates as the evil. And generally, critics mark this as one of the few high points of the movie, which, if you've seen the movie, is not saying much.
No, it's weird for a musical. It's almost like they tried to make it like a sort of a Spanish version of like a Lin-Manuel Miranda sort of Hamilton rap. It has that kind of attempt, but it doesn't.
But they should have got him to write the songs.
He wouldn't have touched this film with a barge pole.
Well, that's probably, maybe they did try.
He makes good decisions generally, doesn't he, Lin?
We love a bit of Lin.
Should we move on to the other Emilia Perez song?
Yes, please.
So, Mi Camino is another forgettable track from Emilia Perez, nominated, and it's performed by Selena Gomez of Wizards of Waverly Place fame.
Of course.
Interestingly, this was actually the third attempt at this song, with the first two being rejected by Gomez as not having enough life. So surprisingly, this is the jazzed up version for Selena, described as something fresh. Whilst it does bounce along nicely, I think the song misses the mark completely. What do you guys think?
I can go first. I disagree, actually, with you, D, on this
Okay.
one. And this may be a shock, but this song actually, when I listened to every song earlier, this was the one that really sang to me. And I feel bad saying it because of all the negative things that's been said about this film. And it isn't by no means a great vocal performance. I don't personally think she's up there with our world's greatest singers personally, but I just kind of, when I listened to it, I just actually quite liked the sort of late 70s, early 80s feel. It had like, it almost sounded a bit ABBA-esque. It was sort of like dripping with like nostalgic shimmer tones and synth pulses. I don't know, I quite liked this song. And I was like, oh, this is why sort of this film has been successful. I don't know. Whereas I really did not like the first one. This one, when I listened to it, I was like, this is a nice song. I didn't obviously understand what was being said, but
not always necessary.
No,
it was necessary.
The subtitles are in Spanish for this one, aren't they?
Yeah, well, this is it. They weren't. I didn't see a version with English subtitles in this, which maybe helped. But yeah, I don't know. I quite enjoyed this one. I must say. I'm guessing you guys didn't feel the same.
Okay, well, let's find out, Ben.
I kind of see it the start when you very much hear whoever that dude is. Like, sorry, please, I don't want to hear him. And the end, I think it loses me a bit, but I do think it is quite earwormy.
Yeah.
I do think it is, whatever it is, because I can't understand what they're saying. It definitely does catch in my ear, and it's not offensive at all. And I think I take similar things. I think there's aspects of it I like. I just think that it's a bit, I don't know, it's that kind of thing. I think because I like elements of it, I feel like it could be better. I just think, again, it's poorly mixed.
I think it works in its favour, though, in this one, because of the vibe of it.
Because it's a film.
Well,
yeah,
no,
because it's a karaoke sort of like scene.
Well, so if you're describing the film version, which I did watch on YouTube, but if you listen to the Spotify soundtrack, well, I suppose just you can remove Spotify. If you listen to the soundtrack version, the guy isn't in it for one thing, which helps. And the structure of the song is different. The song is actually structured.
Well, so that's actually So I'm probably seeing it in the actual version.
Yeah, I've only seen the movie version.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think there's a lot of criticism. I think it's probably more so maybe with the other song, but I think because Jacques Audiard is French, I think he's credited as a lyricist. I think for a lot of these songs, and it's fair. I think it's like he's written it in French and then translated it, so it doesn't. I just think sometimes that it doesn't kind of flow.
Mm.
And it's almost like it's like an auditory uncanny valley. Like it just at times it's like I quite like this, but something just feels like it's just overtuned or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of there's aspects of this actually I quite like. I feel like it could actually be better. But to be fair, saying Alex that me saying it could be slightly better might be on the studio version.
I'd recommend listening to it. I liked, because I watched it first on YouTube. I was like, oh, I can't watch this because the guy voice is annoying me. So I'll listen to so I'll see if it's different. And I did listen to the full because it's a bit longer as well. I think that kind of like sparseness to it that you described and slight uncanniness is actually what works in this one, but not in the other one, just because it has more of a retro feel. So it works better. Whereas the other one just felt like discordant. This feels more like it's intentional. Whether or not it is, it probably isn't.
So did you complete the movie version at all, or did you cut it off before?
No, I did watch it. I did watch the full version.
Right, okay. So what did you think of her like really bad TikTok dancing?
Yeah, the dancing's not great. But obviously, I don't know the context of the film. I don't really understand how it fits. So because it doesn't feel like a normal musical. Because it's weird, isn't it? Because it starts off as like they're singing karaoke together, and then all of a sudden she's dancing with backing dancers. It doesn't really seem to make any logic sense.
Yeah, well, the conceit of like the song placement, as you say, is performing karaoke, and then it just sort of just turns into like a music video for like a few minutes.
Yeah,
and it obviously with the lighting, it harkens back to Spring Breakers. I assume that's what they were going for.
I'll never don't say anything bad about Spring Breakers now.
Oh, I will. No, I definitely won't. As I mentioned before, this track was the third attempt at this song, and it's actually based on Selena Gomez's documentary My Mind and Me about her mental health issues. So it's a very personal song to Selena Gomez. Maybe that's why it works better as a song in its own right with you, Alex.
Maybe.
Because it's not written for this film, really.
Yes, that might make sense.
Yeah.
But then if it's not written for this film, how can it be it can't be nominated, can it? Because that was the whole problem with the Robbie Williams song that was originally shortlisted.
Well, yeah. Whilst they wrote it for this film, they basically watched a documentary and wrote a song for that and went, we'll use it in Emilia Perez. The thing about Better Man is interesting because that will come back again later on with the Journey song from 6AAA.
This is Better Man Erasure in Hollywood.
It is Better Man Erasure.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a Better Man episode.
We absolutely will.
Alex is the greatest defender of that film, and he's never even seen it.
I've never even seen it. But I just know I will love it. This is the thing. I know I will.
I just know I love it.
Every review is good. Anyway, that's those two songs. Let's move on.
Okay, so I'm covering the next song, which is written by Adrian, Quesada, and Abraham Alexander, which is the song Like a Bird from the prison drama Sing Sing. Now, neither of you two have seen this film, have you?
No, I've not seen it. I hadn't even heard of this song until it was nominated.
Okay, so I've seen this film, and so it's the film's like it's a prison drama directed by Greg Quesada, and it's based on the real life rehabilitation through the arts program at Sing Sing Maximum Security Prison in New York. So the film stars Coleman Domingo's, incredible actor. I think he was nominated for Best Actor last year. So his character. And the film follows him and many others as they prepare for like a theatrical stage show in prison while trying to deal with the harsh realities of incarceration. He's like, I guess, this almost knowledgeable creative expert, and they invite a almost stereotypical street thug into the program and try to get him to see almost, I think the quote that they use in the film is like, we're trying to be human again. And I guess it's that, trying to deal with the harsh realities through escapism. It's an incredible film, very emotional, and is based on actual true events. So, in fact, few of the actors in the film were prisoners in Sing Sing who came through the program. So they've gone back and acted in the film, which is pretty incredible. And at the end of the film, when this song plays, is lots of clips of live footage of various stage plays. So you basically got some of these really hardened criminals doing things like Hamlet or Macbeth, or in the case of the film, they do a weird time traveling sort of mock opera, sci-fi, sort of drama comedy that is kind of this incredible mashup. And you see bits of that in the film, and it's incredible. But yeah, I know you've not seen the film, but what did you think of the song?
So I for this song, I thought it was quite a tough one to talk about because it's a good song, and it feels like it would be at home on, like, I don't know, Magic Chilled. Like,
yeah.
Essentially, like, it was always time for Magic Chilled, obviously, but I just didn't have any strong feelings towards this one. It felt such like a serviceable song, laid back track, but not one that I feel like should be winning any sort of award. It just felt very, to go back to AI, it almost feels like, write me a slow-paced one guy singing with an acoustic guitar song, and he just came out with this. One of my biggest issues with the song, really, is that it repeats the same line so much. It reminded me of the, do you remember Frantic by Metallica?
No, that is a 6 degrees of separation. Sorry.
There was a YouTube video, like there was like a 7-hour version where it's just him going frantic tick 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 tock over and over again for 7 hours. And I feel like in this you could have the fly fly like a bird, that bit, over and over again, and it would just keep going forever. Because it feels like that was the entire song for 4 minutes.
Yeah. I do understand. I mean, before I say my bit, Alex, what do you think?
I guess I had a similar reaction. I didn't really feel much when I heard this song. I think the main thing was that the song to me just wanted to be "Fly Like an Eagle" by Seal from Space Jam so bad that it actually tried cuckooing.
Yeah.
But it didn't come close to that kind of sonic power sound of Seal. That I just couldn't shake the comparison. So when I was listening to it, I was like, but it's fine, but it's just not Fly Like an Eagle. And I couldn't get that out of my head while I was listening to it, so I've not really got anything else to say other than it's not Fly Like an Eagle by Seal.
And it's not Nelly Furtado either.
And it's also not Nelly Furtado.
No.
Yeah.
Trying to find the lyrics for this song is very hard because if you type "like a bird" in, it only comes up with one thing. So this is the kind of thing. I don't think this would win, and I don't necessarily think it should win. But for the film, which is quite an emotional film, and where it plays, it's one of those almost like it's like an emotional exhale of a song. Like it's one of those, something we say a lot on this podcast. Like, it's not a pure credit song. It kind of comes in just towards the end, but it works perfectly. And too many times for Oscar bait, it's credit songs, or made for Oscars.
Yeah.
Whereas it felt like no one expects, like, I think, like a film like Sing Sing, which is quite a very small film, to, I think, go these far. And I think it works fantastically for the film. I think it's it's a perfect bookend. It kind of feels like it's got tinges of, in the lyrics, of like hope and salvation mixed with sort of sadness and frustration that you do get with a prison, and I think that matches the film a lot, and so I think it's one of those songs that works for the film. I don't think it's an Oscar style song, but interestingly, I was on A24's subreddit and I saw that the singer Abraham Alexander was asking people, what they thought, and I put a message earlier just saying like, oh, I thought your song was really amazing, and he replied, which is very nice.
Oh,
yeah,
nice. What did he say?
And he just said,
"Shut up."
Well, I bet, but yeah, Adrian Quesada and Abraham Alexander, they're both kind of very popular in sort of the Texas music scene. How they got involved in Sing Sing, I don't really know, but it does kind of combine, I think, a lot of their sort of own musical styles. There's a bit of Latin influence, there's a bit of R&B, there's a bit of sort of kind of gospel-esque lyrics and fusion between all of those. But yeah, I think it's, and not to sound sort of insulting of the song, that I think it's evidence of what's quite a weak year when songs like this get put up that are quite small indie pieces, because they never feel like the kind of the punchy songs that are probably going to win in an Oscar.
Yeah,
it does really raise a good question though about what song should be nominated for in this category. Is it just like the best song, or is it the best use of song in film? Because, like you said, we're commenting on the song based off its literal.
The song. Yeah, I would not think anything of this if I'd never seen the film.
Yeah, and I think this is it. Like, it sounds to me like this is like, based on what you've said, that it's really impactful in the way it's used, and sometimes you'd hope that would be considered, but we all know that the majority of people weren't even seeing the films and who are voting and are not even listening to the songs probably in most cases. So it's that's kind of it just really shines a light on like the nonsense that is the Oscars, really, isn't it?
Basically, yes. It's just pure popularity, isn't it? Because you feel like, yes, this more so like it, the sort of a Grammy when they do it for motion picture, this should be about its connection to the film and not just a nice flashy song.
Yeah, because I think the winner last year was Billie Eilish, wasn't it? And I think, if I remember rightly, we all said when we were talking about it that it was an incredible song, but actually the way it was used in the film wasn't. It kind of actually, the song outshone its usage in the film in a lot of ways, and that feels odd. Then that it then went on to win in some ways, but then also not, because it was by far the best. Like, it's an incredible song, so it's just a weird category within the Oscars, really, because it's sort of something that's not really, that sits in a different space, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I am covering Never Too Late, which is from the documentary of the same name, although I think it's prefaced by Elton John, Never Too Late, which profiles the Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour, which, I think, did you go to? You went to something, didn't you, Elton John related? Was it this?
Yeah, we went to it was that tour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was great. Didn't play this.
No, with good reason, I think. And yeah, like the rest of the world, I have not seen this film. Don't suppose many people have, but I can give you some information about it. So the film. Well, should we talk about? I'll talk about the film first. So the film was originally called Goodbye Yellow Brick Road: the final Elton John performances and the years that made his legend. You can see why they didn't run with that name. But after hearing the song, which is written and half performed by Brandi Carlile along with Elton and Elton's longtime co-writer Bernie Taupin, after hearing the song that she'd written, which she did write after visiting Elton's house in southern France, which sounds lovely, with her wife Catherine, when they saw an early cut of the documentary, she went home, wrote the song. After hearing it, Elton liked the name of it so much and the feeling of it that they wanted to change the name of the film, and that's why it is now called Never Too Late. But yeah, the kind of critical consensus of this film is that it's not exactly a must-see warts and all affair. It doesn't really delve very deep into Elton's, well established kind of, not troubles, but like he has, the kind of life that he's led and like drug addiction, drink addiction, things like that. So it doesn't really delve much into the deeper heart of Elton John. But if you are a fan, you'll be in safe hands, basically. And that seems to be the cut and the thrust of it. But we're here to talk about the song, so what do you guys think of the song?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm shocked to hear that this isn't an Elton John written song. Because my first thought hearing this is, do you think Elton John might be phoning it in a bit?
Well, it was co-written. He took a co-write, I think. It was originally written by Brandy. But
He wrote enough of it to get residuals.
to get his name on the award.
I mean, it also looks like he showed up for the documentary sort of, single video. About 20% of it is because he just disappears at points. It's just her.
This feels like a completely throwaway Elton John album track, which is slightly elevated by it being a duet. But I can't hear this song and think that somebody somewhere is going, that's prime cut of Elton John. Maybe I've gone too hard here, because my next note is that it's just music without a soul.
Christ.
It's just nothing. It's like, it feels like somebody tried to do a version of like Tiny Dancer and went, that sounds close enough where I don't have to pay Elton John to use it. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I just don't know why. I don't know why it's here. I've listened to like the Golden Globe songs as well, like from like Challengers and Wild Robot and Last Showgirl. I just don't understand why they're putting a song from. Again, I just feel like, are you just pandering to like Elton John fans to get them involved in the Oscars? Because this is, or is this some sort of deal with Netflix to be like, can you just push our documentary, please?
Did anyone know this documentary existed?
No, not until I saw this nominated. It's actually on Disney Plus. It's not Netflix.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, that makes that's probably even more likely that as a deal.
Yes, it explains it more.
I just thought it was poor. There's a few things when you watch him playing piano, those arthritic fingers, and then the camera shuns away and you see that you hear that the sort of the dance of the keys. I'm like, that's not Elton. That's definitely not Elton. He plays the chords and that's it. But like, yeah, I just feel it's an absolute phone-in.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it.
100%. 100%.
I think this is it. You imagine all of the amazing songs that'll be featured in the film, some of which we've already mentioned, like Tiny Dancer, Rocket Man, etc. Well, I mean, mentioned in full when we did our top 5 Elton game, and then you're just left with this bag of meh. It's just nothing. And Elton singing nowadays, my God, like it sounds like sound escaping from an open chest cavity or something. It's just, it's not good. Yeah, but Elton has been nominated 5 times in this category, and he's won twice already. So he could be on for number 3.
He has an EGOT, doesn't he?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
absolutely certain he's got an EGOT.
Yeah, Say One for Can You Feel the Love Tonight from Lion King, obviously, and Love Me Again from Rocket Man, which I did not know had won Best Original Song, but did in 2019. So yeah, I think to summarise, there's a lyric in the song which is "Don't bore me with the same old story." And yet, this is a one-dimensional, conventional song. So yeah,
nailed it.
Thank you. And on that bum note, let's move on.
Elton John got an Emmy last year. What was that for?
Was it performance on Good Morning America?
Yeah, something like that. Something clearly contrived to get him an ego.
Yeah, that just feels like, bring
he was
me
in the background.
Fuck that! Yeah, it's the stupid outstanding variety special live. Elton John farewell from Dodger Stadium. So again, yeah, just probably a live performance of his farewell tour.
Yeah, footage which was probably then used in this documentary. What's so odd to me about like songs like this is, I think we discussed on one of the Oscar episodes how difficult it is to get an Oscar song nominated. Like so many songs get cut off the list because like you have to get like a certain score to get onto the shortlist, and yet a film like, I think you have to get like a point above an 8, like across the board to get onto the shortlist, and yet a song like this has been given that rating by enough people to get on there. And it's like, I get that you can't watch all like 20 films that are long listed for Best Picture, but you can listen to like 10 songs, surely, and just give your opinion on them. Be like, yes, no, this is terrible. Like, I
just look down a list and saw Elton John's name and just put a tick in the box.
That is exactly what happens. Yeah.
It's the Robbie Williams whitewashing, and say that 5 times quickly.
I don't want to, because I don't want to acknowledge it still.
Just don't acknowledge it.
Right, should we move on to the final nominee?
Is it her time?
Let's do it.
Is it her time?
Could be.
Well, I mean, it is performed by her.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Nice.
No.
Yeah, it was awful.
So The Journey is the signature song from Tyler Perry's World War II drama, The 688, which is the true life story of an all-black female battalion who, after being overlooked multiple times, are begrudgingly given the thought impossible task of filtering through 3 years' worth of undelivered mail from the front line in just 6 months. Just before I move into talking about the movie, have you guys seen this one?
You know I haven't.
No. I see Tyler Perry's name in things, and whether it's good or not, I'm
Tyler
like,
Perry.
Yeah, I was surprised to find out this was a Tyler Perry film, because I quite enjoyed it. Yes, it's a very lazy comparison I'm about to go with, but it's really hard not to compare it to Hidden Figures.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as good as Hidden Figures, but I feel like being a slightly less good version of that movie is still pretty good going. And it is a Tyler Perry film, so like it had that going against it, and it's still, I thought, a really good film. Kerry Washington's performance in this, I don't think I've ever seen someone acting angry without being able to say anything better than in this movie. The film is good, but like she's incredible in this film.
Okay.
It's worth it just for her.
Tyler Perry, it's just weird that because why does he have to put his name in everything?
It does say at the beginning, Tyler Perry presents, and I was like, oh God, what have I done?
What have I done? Oh, dear God, what have I done?
Anyway, I think I've buried the lead long enough here. So the song, this powerful song, that is the reason to play this jingle.
Diane Warren.
The Journey is this year's effort from Diane Warren, and I'd say it's her best in many a years. But what do you guys think of this song?
It's hard to disagree with that. I think it had heart, it had soul, it had that indefinable Diane Warrenness that we've been missing for many years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's still quite hit the heights of There You'll Be, or Don't Want to Miss a Thing, but it's the closest she's been for a while. Because I think she's literally had one every year we've done this podcast.
It's in the same postcode, and I think that's about
She
as
has.
close as you can get to comparing to those absolute greats.
Yeah, it's in the same postcode. I think that's a fair way of saying it. And I think that this year, that might be good enough. Because the thing is, if either of those two songs had been released this year, they would have won easily. And I think, or the Leanne Rimes song from Con Air was released this year, Can't Find the Moonlight was released this year, they would have all won. As it stands, she might have about, I'd say she's probably going, she's probably in the top two. But I don't know if she's going to swing it on.
I think
she's going to lose to El Mal.
El Mal song's going to win, but yeah.
She's going to lose to that. But in my opinion, she probably just about deserves to win.
It is. It's a low power ballad, isn't it? That's kind of what I feel like it's on the cusp of being like, oh, this is, it's growing into something like, oh, it doesn't quite like smash it, but I do think it's a really nice song, and I think lyrically, like I said, I've not seen the film, but it seems to capture a lot, and you see a lot of the comments on YouTube saying the song captures what the film was conveying very well.
Yeah,
and she's got a lovely voice. Whoever this lass is, I've never heard of her before. I'm not trying to make any puns.
Hey,
I'm not trying to make them.
Did we cover? I think she did a song.
Oh yeah, she has had another one before. You're right. You are right. Yeah.
I can't remember what song it was though, but I'm sure she did. I remember we spoke about her before.
Yeah, she did "Fight for You" from Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's got pedigree. She's got pedigree. But I guess we're going to talk about it. But it's that not just because it's Diane, and we've been her biggest fan since we basically started this podcast.
We've been diehards.
Like previous years, I think no, you're phoning it in. I don't feel like she is, or at least if she is, she's managed to find the chords, the magical chords that she captured earlier in her career.
So in the movie, this song plays over the end credits, but it's one of those end credits where it's videos and text like expanding upon the real world story, and like seeing like the legacy of their efforts in the war. It does sometimes like fade out whilst Michelle Obama is talking about it, and then it comes back in and it punches that chorus once more, and it really hits you in the feels. So yeah, I feel like the song is a pretty perfect companion. As you said, the YouTube comments say the same. It feels it straight away. It feels earned in the film when you get to the end because it has such an emotional punch. You brought Better Man when we were talking about Mi Camino, and how I mentioned that it was written about Selena Gomez's documentary, but then just used in Emilia Perez. This song wasn't written for the 688.
Oh.
Even though it works so well in the film, everyone thinks it has such a strong connection to the film, and it really does work in the film. It was actually written like a year prior and was used for the 2023 NBA Finals. A year later, they just went, "Oh, it's also in this film,
Wow.
and you can have an Oscar nomination."
That is, it's just insulting.
So, if you think it has an emotional punch, just think how it must feel for those Denver Nugget fans after they won the series 4-1 over Miami Heat.
Denver Nuggets.
Straight off the dome, that wasn't it, D?
When someone says the 2023 NBA Finals, I can't help but think of Denver Nuggets.
As a grown man, could you, with a straight face, walk into your place of work and say, "Yeah, I'm a Nugget fan"?
I just love them Nuggets.
I think I could say that because everyone would think I'm talking about McDonald's.
Yeah, but still, you should be saying you're a Nugget fan.
No, because if you're a true fan, you refer to them as the Nugs.
Well, I mean, if you say you love Nugs at work, you also might get into trouble.
Those Nugs. Just can't get enough of the Nugs.
I don't really have anything else other than I found out what H.E.R stands for, as in because it's H.E.R with dots in between. It means having everything revealed.
Okay.
There you go.
I've learned nothing. Nothing has been revealed.
It is what it is. Should we move on to picking the favourite songs?
Let's go for it.
We've had our benefactors, so our patrons, get to cast their vote as always. Yeah, so Ben, go over to you first.
Okay, so I am thinking that I probably would say, just from a pure Oscar level, it probably is The Journey. That probably is the best song, or at least it's the song I hope wins. I think the next best thing after that is probably Mi Camino, and I think that's a bit mid, and then everything else. Like I say, I love Like a Bird, but I don't think it's an Oscar song, and the rest I don't even want to mention. So yeah, my vote's probably gonna go for The Journey, and I've also got the vote from one of our patron fans, longtime fan Jade, who said that the best song is the Elton John and Brandi Carlile song "Never Too Late." So thanks, Jade.
Cool, thank you. Alex?
Yeah, my favourite song is Mi Camino, and I really hate to say it because of the ickiness of everything else about the that surrounds it. But when I listened to all the songs earlier, that was the one that stood out for me, and like I felt it was the most interesting of the songs. Yeah. Well, they could maybe say that about the Elmar, but that was interesting in a negative way. This was interesting in a it struck something in me that the rest of them didn't, because I found it quite flat in general. I would like to see Diane win, just simply because, based on the competition, it feels like it should win. But I believe that one of the songs from Emilia Perez will win. But I don't think it's the one that I like. I think it will be Elmar, just based off the fact that it won the Golden Globe. Unless there is so much backlash against this film now that it doesn't. And then maybe that clears the path for Diane. So let's fingers crossed. I don't think that the song, like I said, I don't think the song that I like the most will win. I don't think, if I think a song from Emilia Perez will win, it'll be Elmar. But I'm putting everything on Diane. Come on, Diane. And our Patreon, Ashley, also believes that The Journey will win. He didn't think this was a strong field this year, which is essentially what we've all said. But The Journey is his favourite of the bunch. Was the one that felt the most inspirational, which I think we can all agree on. He says that his second and third are Elmar, which he said there's not a clue what it's about. Agreed there, but it's pretty invigorating.
Yeah,
and I can see, like it has something, doesn't it? But it's just unclear what.
Yeah, there's emotion
what it
there.
is. And then Never Too Late. He said okay, but overproduced, and the two vocals don't quite match respectively, which I think again is a fair assessment of three songs.
Cool. Right. So personally, I thought it was quite clear The Journey is the best song here. It was the one I heard first, and I also knew it was a Diane Warren song, and I knew just straight away nothing's going to be better than that. And listened to the other songs, and nothing's better than that. But I have the vote from another long-time patron, Emma, who, similar to Ashley, doesn't have a favourite this year, really. Feels they have to choose, and they are, because they're contractually obligated as a patron to vote. They picked The Journey. They thought lyrically, musically, it goes for its own journey, which makes it more memorable, powerful, and empowering, which couldn't have said it better myself. So that means in total, 5 votes to 1. Diane, it is your year.
Diane Warren.
That brings end to another episode of That Song from That Movie. Let us know what you think should be winning the Oscars Best Original Song this year, and why it definitely should be Diane Warren's effort. Ben, what is our social media handle?
At TSFTMpod.
So you can help the podcast by sharing this on a random subreddit. But Alex, what random subreddit should everyone share it on this week?
Obviously, the Tyler Perry subreddit.
Yeah.
So you can also help the podcast by telling all your friends, leaving us a 5-star review wherever you listen to this. And if you want to help us financially, we do have Patreon. You would have been able to vote if you were signed up. You could do next year. Buying our merch. All the things to do that are in the show's notes. So all I have now to do some goodbyes. So it's goodbye from myself, goodbye, and goodbye from Alex.
Moonlight!
Can't believe you've done it again. You said what I was going to say. I can't believe of all the things that's possible. That was exactly it.
And goodbye from Ben.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
Two great topical references there. I mean, I started it with an Del Dezine reference, so like,
Exactly.
whatever.
I was just riffing off you there, Dave.
I don't even know if that was the Oscars. That could have been one of the many other award shows.
I don't think it was.
Oh, was it not? I thought it was the Oscars. I thought it was.
Is it not? Let's have a look. Adele Dazeem.
Because she was performing Let Go from Frozen, wasn't she?
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I think it was.
Yeah, Oscar fail. Yeah, you're right. No, you are right.
So, goodbye, everybody. Bye. Sorry, I was reading my next line. I was like, why did I write that? My next line was, it hits you in the feels, as kids from 15 years ago would say.
They do be say that.
Don't be afraid to catch feels.